Okay, so this video is for the brand new EDM producer, or maybe you've been doing it for 6 months to a year or something like that, and you are realizing that in order for your music to sound good, you're going to have to do something. You're going to have to learn how to mix and master it. And so today, I'm going to talk about what mixing is, what mastering is, and then best practices to kind of learn how to do them and how to be able to listen, use headphones or speakers in order to get the best result. And I'm also going to talk about something called referencing as well. So after that, make sure you look in the description below. I have a free mix training. It's about a half hour long and I cover a lot of stuff that'll really help you. It also comes with my free ebook, which will help save you a lot of time, money, and frustration. So make sure to look in the description below and grab that free training. It'll help you a lot. Okay. So let's go ahead and talk about mixing and mastering. What are mixing and mastering and what are the differences? So mixing is just basically taking each individual part that makes up your track and fitting it together like a puzzle to create a cohesive mix at the end. It really comes down to volume levels. I would say that like 80 to 90% of your mix is really just the volume level of each one of your tracks. And then using different tools that we have like compression, EQ, reverb, and delay. Those are like the four main mixing effects that we use basically to make each individual element fit together with the end result being a cohesive mix. And so if you look at my track that I'm working on here, I've got my vocals. So typically a vocal will be placed nice and up front in the mix, and then you might have some pads or something like that. Pads might be more further back in the mix. If we kind of view the mix like a 3D image, you can think of a mix like tall, deep, and wide. And so tall meaning the frequency range, the lows to the very highs. Think bass, and then like a hi-hat or something will be up here. The depth is how close something sounds to you. So like I said, a vocal will sound like it's up front. Something like a pad or something, or maybe a shaker element might sound further back in the mix. And then the width, it just has to do with our panning. So you might pan something hard to the left or hard to the right, or you might have something directly in the center, mono. And so that's what we're working with. When it comes to fitting each element together, we might use something like EQ. And basically with an EQ, what that means is that we are shaping the frequencies of a track. And so let's say we have an instrument and we've got some low and information in the instrument that we don't necessarily need. We can just filter it out using EQ, and that way it won't muddy up the rest of your mix. You won't have frequencies that are overlapping with each other. Some overlap is okay, but if you get too much overlap, let's say you've got a bass instrument and then you've got some pluck instrument and they're competing with that frequency range, well, that's going to create muddiness and it's going to make your mix sound bad. And so what we're aiming for is basically putting everything together in a way like a puzzle so that you can hear each individual element in the track and it's not competing with each other. And we also don't have a muddy sounding track. And this is what we do in order to make our track sound professional. When you play a track from one of your favorite artists on Spotify, their track has been mixed and mastered to sound that good. There's a reason it sounds that good. Before we get to mastering, a lot of the mixing stuff we do as EDM producers, a lot of times we'll actually do it as we produce. So if you are producing and you set the volume level of something, or maybe you add some compression on there or some EQ, you're already mixing from the get-go. And some do this more than others. So I mix quite a bit as I produce, but maybe your workflow might be that you just want to get all of the music stuff out there. You want to write your track, get the arrangement of your track finished, and maybe it doesn't sound that good, but then you have it all finished and then you go back and then, the creative part is done. Now you want to be more analytical and you want to do the mixing part and just make sure everything sounds good together. That's another great way to go about it as well. So that's what mixing is. And if I'll go ahead and I'll play you this track that I'm listening to right now. One thing before I play it, what I always like to say is mixing, to be honest, is more important than mastering. You can make a good mix sound better with mastering, but you cannot fix a bad mix with mastering. So back in my newbie days, what I would do is I'd throw a ton of stuff on the master channel thinking it was all about the mastering. I'd put ozone on there and I'd put all this stuff, and I thought, why does my track sound so bad still? Well, really it comes down to the mix, and then mastering is like the final step. And you can make some improvements with the mastering, but you can't fix a bad mix with mastering. So if your music sounds bad and you think that you can send it off to a master engineer and they're going to magically make it sound better, it's not the case. So that's why the mix is really, really important. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and play a little bit of my track so you can take a listen. So this is objectively a fairly good mix. It's not finished. I'm not done with it, but at the end, right now it's already sounding pretty good. And so that is just the mix alone. Now let's talk about mastering. So mastering is just the final stage, and the basic gist is that it's taking a finished mix and then bringing the volume up to a commercial volume level, and also setting a limiter on it and setting a ceiling on that limiter so that there's no it preventing any distortion or intersample peaks, as well as maybe doing a little bit of adjustments here and there, slight adjustments that might make the overall mix just a little better. So I don't want to do a really long detailed explanation about mastering and how to master or anything like that, but what I want to say is that your mastering chain should pretty much always end with a limiter. And there is a difference between mastering for yourself and mastering for a client. If you're mastering for a client, then you might need to do more EQ adjustments or maybe some compression. However, if you're mastering for yourself and you ever need to fix an issue, well, you can always go back into the mix to fix an issue. Let's say your bass is too high or too loud or something like that. Well, you always go back into your mix and bring down the volume. Whereas if you're mastering for someone else, you'd have to make the EQ adjustments because all you have to work with is a WAV file. And so that is what mastering essentially is. Like I said, it's just, if you look at it like this, in the mix, we've got groups of instruments. And so I've got all of these instruments that go into this group, and you can see here that they're routed that way. So this goes here into my mids and highs group, and then now right here, it goes into my main. And so everything goes into the main, and it's like basically with mastering, we're essentially just group processing, but our entire track, our entire mix. Before I forget, one thing that's good to know now when you do learn how to master your music is that when you limit your music and you're going to want to go for a loudness level. So like I said, we're trying to get our music ready for commercial release, get it to commercial loudness level. We measure loudness now in something called LUFS or LUFS. So a good range you want to keep in mind when you're mastering your track is you want to get to a loudness level of somewhere between -8 and -6 LUFS. I wanted to cover this because there's this like myth that goes around saying that you should master your music for Spotify and you should only master it to -14 LUFS. And that's just not true. Spotify might normalize music and bring all tracks down to some kind of loudness level like that, but you still want to master your track to whatever is competitive in your genre. So if you're making bass music, that might mean that you master your music to up to -3 LUFS or something extremely loud like that. Whereas if you're making something like melodic house or just typical house music, it'll probably be somewhere between -8 and -6. And, feel free to just buy or download a bunch of professional tracks, throw them in your DAW and measure the loudness level just so you can, see this for yourself. Typically, that's what you'll find. So I want to make sure to cover that before moving on. The last thing I want to talk about is referencing and how important it is. And so if you're new or intermediate and you're not referencing, you need to start referencing right away, because referencing is how it gives you like something to aim for when you are producing and when you're mixing. So if you just produce and you're mixing and you're not listening to pro level tracks on your speakers or your headphones, well, you're kind of just like shooting, what's that saying? You're like throwing darts in the dark, basically. So I really like this referencing software called Metric AB. I would get it when it's on sale. You can put several pro tracks in here, an AB, and I swear this is like the number one most important thing that you could do as a beginner to go from beginner to advanced, okay? So I just really wanted to end the video with this. I start referencing right away. You don't need metric A/B. You can also put an audio track in your DAW and put a professional track there, and then make sure you route it outside of the master, and then mute it, and then solo it every now and then. You could listen to a pro track like that. That's a way you can reference, but metric A/B works really well. Okay, so I just want to throw that out there. So that's mixing, mastering explained. If you look in the description for my free training, and also if you are a beginner and you want to get good at this stuff as fast as possible, I would just book a Zoom call with me and we'll talk about getting you enrolled in my course, Mix Immersions. It's not only a course that teaches you everything you need to know, I also give you stem files to practice with, practice mixing with, and you get access to my private Discord where you can ask me questions anytime you want, and we do weekly Q&A calls, and it's really more like a course and mentorship program that'll really help speed up your learning process and get you making professional tracks as fast as possible. Okay, so look in the description for that, and I hope you'd enjoyed, and I'll see you guys again next time.